Hello Internet, my name is Lave and I watched Mary, Queen of Scots, which is directed by Josie, Rourke, who I believe has a background in theatre. I don't really know who she is, so as far as I'm aware, this is her directorial feature film debut, which is taking a look at the life of Mary Stuart, who returned to Scotland in 1561 as the widow of the King of France to reclaim her right to the throne of Scotland and England. This does not go down well with Elizabeth I, the Queen of England, so a Game of Thrones ensues, if you will, as the two women assert their rights in a world ruled by men. So an obvious place to start is with its two leads. You've got Saoirse Ronan as Mary, you've got Margot Robbie as Elizabeth. What's interesting is that both actresses were up for the Best Actress nomination at the Oscars last year for separate films, so it feels kind of ironic and a bit like fate that they should meet up again in this film. Unfortunately, they haven't made the Oscar nominations this year. They were released like yesterday and they haven't made the cut, but that's not to say that they don't deliver Oscar-worthy performances. Especially Saoirse Ronan, who delivers another impeccable performance with a flawless Scottish and French accent as Mary, this girl determined to regain what is hers and, in her eyes, unite the two kingdoms with or without the help of her council. Unsurprisingly, this being called Mary, Queen of Scots, she does get more screen time than Margot Robbie, who I have criticised in the past in other period films that she's done, like in Tarzan and the Christopher Robin film that she was in, where she maybe is a bit too posh with her English accent, and the fact that she's just so good looking, I find it distracting. But that's not a problem in this one. With the aid of some awesome prosthetic makeup and the fact that the character suffered from smallpox, she's unrecognisable, but underneath it all, she does deliver a great performance. Excuse the pun, but it is a warts and all performance that really does humanise the Queen, who is also battling for her own independence in this world run by men. But what's really interesting is the way that they both go about it. As I mentioned, Mary is determined to do whatever she has to do without the help of her council if needs be, but then the Queen is more on the back foot in this film, and she does accept help from her politicians. The film does have a strong feminist message and agenda, with the majority of the men plotting ways to either stay in power or gain power, and most of the drama derives from who the women will or will not marry to secure their claim. It does have a lot of players playing the game, with plenty of decent performances in there from all of the actors, but the film does a really good job of juggling all of its characters and explaining who they are and what they're doing without dumping too much exposition on us. If I do have one complaint, I do wish that the film unpacked a little bit further the religious conflict between the Catholics and the Protestants, with Mary being Catholic and Elizabeth being a Protestant. Although from what I can gather, I think Elizabeth was more diplomatic when it came to Catholicism, and I wish it could have expanded on that and explored it a bit further. But then the film doesn't lose focus on the rivalry between the two queens, who come to realise that they are the only two people in the world who can understand the position that either one are in, which brings me to the most contentious point of the film, which depicts the fact that they actually met. Now, at the risk of sounding incredibly ignorant, I'm going to be honest and admit that I didn't know that they never actually met, and I only know that because on the way out of the cinema, this sweet little old lady told me so. She was walking out on her crutch and I held the door open for her, and she looked up for me and said, "Oh, thank you, young man. Did you enjoy that?" And I said, "Yeah, it was all right. I'm not a particular fan of period films." And she said, "Well, of course, it was never actually documented that they ever met." And I think that's the key word there. It wasn't documented that they met, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Certainly, looking back at the scene, they really milk it for all it's worth. It really is the Oscar clip scene with thespian going up against thespian, one saying, "I will not bow to my inferior." You're inferior? So it's a really good scene, but yeah, it might not have happened, which could explain why the Oscars overlooked their performances. However, the film has picked up some Oscar nominations for makeup and costume design, and rightly so. The range of costumes and the details that they go to, it's all extravagantly medieval, and it also benefits from some breathtaking cinematography. If you're going to have a film set in Scotland, just go there and film Scotland. It's just so naturally beautiful. I really want to go there. I have been up as far as Edinburgh, but I haven't been all the way to the top. I do want to go there. I want to see mountains, Gandalf. The last thing I will say about the film, and I'm going to try and work in another Lord of the Rings line for no reason whatsoever, the film does cover a broad range of time from 1561 to 1587, I believe. Often days, months and years will go by from scene to scene, which is actually a positive and a negative because it kept the pace of the film up and engaging and interesting, but it also made me notice the fact that a lot of the people didn't seem to age in that time. The best example I can give is David Tennant's character, who's playing this priest who you see early on in the film, so 1561, preaching to his masses and is dead against Mary because she's a Catholic. You then see him years later down the line and he hasn't aged a day. So that's my thoughts on Mary, Queen of Scots, and pause the video if you want to take a closer look at my enjoyment tracker now. Like I say, I'm no historian, but I'm pretty sure the film has used creative license in certain areas. I will also say that it does feel like it is pandering to the modern audience and our PC culture a little bit too hard at times. Certain moments in the film made me go, really, would that have happened in medieval England? But all that aside, I thought it was really enjoyable. I thought the performances were great. The technical aspects of the film were really good. It's worth going to see. So thanks very much for watching this review. As always, I really do appreciate it. If you've seen it, let me know what you thought down in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you can, give it a like and don't forget to share the Lave, my inferiors. Subscribe.